Welcome back to Gscpl III coverage. We have Helpono and Rob Jr. Jinx on Black's lead. Black could switch out in fear of Thief. We will most likely see if that happens. Something like a Raikou or a Vaporeon, because those also cover Lovely Kiss. Coco could also switch to a potential Cloyster, anticipating the Snorlax to stay in and to be the Sleep Talker. We see a Lix, which is similar to the Cloyster idea. Takes the double edge and well. Could go for an EQ here, could Curse, could Roar, could double the Cloy. Goes to Zapdos, predicting Rob Jr. to bring in his Cloy to establish spikes. And Rob Jr. reveals Flamethrower. So this Lix won't be walling that lax. We may very well see a Cloyster switch here on Coco's end. No, doubles to the Steelix and catches the Nidoking. Alright, Nidoking could easily go for an Ice Beam here, predicting Zap. It's very predictable just to go for the straight off Lovely Kiss. But he's going to switch to Cloyster. Works great into the Lix, and he would have gotten punished hard for an Ice Beam. And again, knowing that Rob Jr. isn't going to take the simple move, the Lovely Kiss into the Steelix, the Surf into the Steelix, he calls him out for the overpredict, and he drags in a Gengar, which Steelix is threatening a hefty EQ on. Goes to Zapdos, knowing Cloy is always coming in there. Well, not always, but has a high chance. And he's able to double in his Cloy on the Flamethrower double edge Lax. This Lax is almost certainly Resk Talk. Gengar is looking like it will probably... I'm assuming this is going to be Explosion Gar. We don't know if these are going to be two Thiefers. It's unlikely that it is Triple Thief, because that team will lead with a Jinx. It's a possible Nidogar from Rob Jr. We could see Spikes here or a Toxic. Likely Spikes, because you don't need a Toxic Lax that you know is not going to be Curse. And Lix, attempting to pivot in on a electric move, is thiefed, so it is Thief Gengar. Again, threatens an EQ. And just gonna smack the Cloyster, chipping it down. Likely goes to Zapdos here. On the Surf crit, not terrible, but still unnecessary chip damage. Is going to double the Jinx, just put more pressure on with Lovely Kiss. And he doesn't go for it, knowing the Lax is very likely to be Sleep Talk. He's going to choose, take this opportunity to get Cloyster in, maybe threaten a Toxic, but just goes for a Surf, knowing Gengar is likely the response. Again, Lix comes into the Gar. Rob Jr. makes the correct call. Ice Punch freezes the Lix. Now, this Lix really wasn't going to be checking the Lax, but it has been an invaluable pivot into the Gengar. But now that has been removed, and he's going to have to switch into this Gengar. Zap's so low that it's not even remotely an option for pivoting. Cloyster is not an option for pivoting. Jinx can take some hits from Gar. Lax will be able to take some hits from Gar. And the prospective potential Gengar in back, which is what I'm wondering if Coco has, is not something that wants to take hits from the Gengar. Rob Jr. goes to Cloyster, anticipating a Lax to come in as a response to Gengar, so he could finally... he has his spikes up. Pardon that. And Jinx finally goes for the Lovely Kiss into the Sleep Talk Lax. If it has Nightmare here, it can threaten to force this Lax out. consider, like, as long as Lax doesn't immediately double edge with Sleep Talk, that makes it a lot more dicey for the Caroler. And nothing else seems to really like switching into Jinx other than this Lax. Goes for a Psychic, though, revealing he definitely does not have Nightmare. That, I think, is rather questionable because this Jinx kind of shreds Rob Jr. But if he double edges right now, or even rolls Flamethrower, it's going to take a significant chunk. And, for example, get put into like something like Zapdos Thunder range. But he rolls Rest. That is the most ideal roll for Sleep Talk. Now he has his Lovely Kiss pressure back. And he's going Lax on the Lax. That's very, very much not a position you want to be forced into on turn 19. We can assume this Lax could be either another Sleep Talker to help back up Zapdos against Jinx, or is Curse EQ, because Steel X plus Curse EQ Lax is good. And gets hit hard with Double Edge. It's unlikely that Lax will roll another Double Edge here, so he could potentially go for a move that's not Rest, even though he is into a KO range. We see the Golem, so it's not a Tyranitar, but similar, gives him relief from spikes, and we see the Curse. This is, I would be shocked if this was not a Curse EQ Lax, because Steelix. Need I say more? Goes for the Rapid Spin. Is he going to take a hefty EQ? Yes, he is. So now we're in an interesting position. Rob Jr. is very much being pressured to explode with his Golem here. And that is a very apparent move. That's the straightforward move that Rob Jr. has been trying to assume that Coco wouldn't predict. I mean, would predict. All throughout earlier. And that Coco had been calling him out for not making the straightforward move, where he stayed in with Licks to roar out the Cloyster. He stayed in with Licks against the Nidoking that could have slept it. So I'm wondering if Coco can call him out again and just EQ and catch this Golem on anything but an explosion. This Curse EQ Lax looks very, very scary. Cloyster can take maybe a hit. Nidoking can come in after something dies and Lovely Kiss it, or could switch in and take a massive amount of damage. But regardless, if this Lax stays in and clicks even so much as EQ, something is taking a chunk. But if Golem goes boom here, this Lax could be just dead to rights. So, Coco, from his perspective, he can go Zapdos. That doesn't do so well on boom. Cloyster, similar. Also, he does. Then he loses Spike's pressure. So Cloyster is just out of this. But Licks is a pretty good switch into this, because no matter what, you're getting tempo if the Golem stays in. And if it doesn't stay in, I mean, it's just a frozen Licks. Like, it's not doing much. So that is what he's going to do. And Rob Jr. is going to go for the EQ, not blowing his Golem into the Licks. Of course, Cloyster gets a free in here and can just spike up as likely Gengar comes in. And now we see some of the problems by that Ice Punch freeze is that it's a lot harder to stave off the Gengar. Of course, the cycle would have repeated like once or twice more and the Licks would have died to Ice Punches. But now he's having to face the threat of this Gengar sooner. And he pivoted Jinx into it before. So let's see if he does it again. Or if he goes Lax this time. No, he does Jinx again. And eats a hefty Thunder. No para, though. Jinx is very threatening. Other than the fact that there's a Lax on the other side. So it's very possible Coco will make double here to its potential last. I don't think thinking more on it, I don't understand. Why did I think there was a Gengar? No, if there was a Gengar on Coco's end, it would be the response to the Lax, rather than Coco's own Lax. So I'm wondering, what is this Jinx paired with? I guess Alakazam is a possibility, because Jinx Alakazam is a thing, but I think that's less likely than basically any generic offensive mon. It's not going to be a normal resist, and I think it may be a there's just something tickling me about this. But regardless, this Jinx is a massive threat to everything on Rob Jr.'s end. Just kill. Well, doesn't kill Nidoking immediately, but kind of murders everything else other than the Lax. He's forcing that Lax in, and he's getting a Psychic off on it, trying to keep it low. He is in double edge range. Goes to the Cloyster. He does have the power to threaten Boom. Flamethrower does a lot, but he burns! So all that stuff I said about threatening a potential Boom, and I was going to elaborate on how if he can keep surfing into the Gengar, he can chip it down, as long as he calls when the Gengar is going to Boom correctly. But no, that's all gone. This Cloyster is just barely able to... It can surf a couple times, and that's about it. Yep, Rob Jr. Zapdos comes in. It's free into this Cloyster, and it mandates the Snorlax. It appears they're just going to sack that Cloy because it's not useful anymore, and his Lax would be in 2-hit KO range. It should, well, yeah, I think so. I'm trying not to calculate because I don't want to make it too erroneous, because I'm going to record multiple of these. Body Slam is not what you want to have here. Cloyster now survives another one because no para. It's very possible that Coco's last is going to be some kind of Sleep Talker that absorbs into opposing Jinx. Coco here could go Zapdos. Looks like he's in a very hard position, though. I don't believe this Cloyster will Boom here. Maybe it does. No. The more I think about it, it's incredibly unlikely that Coco has a normal resist or a Gengar. Booming here either eliminates the Jinx, which is a huge threat to his team, eliminates the Zapdos, which is a decent threat to his team. It is hit by it's hit by things, and is staved off by the Nidoking and Lax, but it's a Zapdos. Or he kills off the Snorlax, which is probably Coco's best shot at winning this, because the Golem is so chipped. If he can avoid getting boomed on, this Lax can take the game. So what does he do? He's gonna sack the Jinx to Explosion. Do we see his last? It is Espeon. Oh my goodness. Why didn't I lump Espeon in with the Zam? Ugh. Dang it. It is this. Yeah. I love Espeon. Brings me much joy to see it. It's actually insane here. Because Psychic go Burr, because there's no Tyranitar. But it's gonna have a spot of trouble with that Lax, depending on Sleep Talk rules. If it's sub Espeon, I think it's in a pretty decent position. Also, that Zapdos is healthy enough to take some hits, but I think he wants to be the subset rather than the growth pass set. We see the Nidoking. If he baton passes here, well, it reveals the set. But, I think it's unlikely that this Nidoking goes for Lovely Kiss. Because if this Espeon is sub, Rob Jr. may just lose. So I think he's going for an Earthquake, which Espeon should, in theory, live. And I'm trying not to calc this time, because I'm going to do 3 at once. either 2-hit KOs with Psychic or Growth Psychics it. So we choose 2-hit KO with Psychic. I don't know how I feel about the Thief. I think it's reasonable, depending on your plan of action. If your plan of action is to Snorlax it out against the sub Espeon, Thief is probably the way to go. Because it helps, it means if you roll Flamethrower or Sleep Talk, Rest, you're not really allowing that Espeon to recover the health from the subs. And I think that's maybe better than, yeah, that is statistically better than going the route of, let's have Zapdos attack this thing. So no, I do not dislike the Thief. I think Growth was the play from the Sunshine Sound, because you're 2-hit KOing, unless it's a roll. That, of course, matters. But if you have a Growth off here, then you just straight up kill the Nidoking, and then you're in a better position to take down the Lax and Zapdos. So Zapdos is going to come in. So if this is Sub-Beyond, it can kind of fish here. But it's just going to Growth in its face, takes a Thunder, doesn't get para'd. Is he going to try and... No, he's not going to try and Morning Sun it off. He's just going to chunk the Zapdos. It goes down. Snorlax comes in. This is not over for Coco. But Rob Jr. is in a commanding position. He needs to get this Lax at a position where it can be out of range of explosion. It needs to be able to weather the Explosion Storm. Yeah, that Thunder doesn't matter unless it crit or full para'd. And now he gets a chance to go to his Golem. But he doubles to Zapdos. And now we likely see a switch to Rob Jr.'s Snorlax, because Golem would be in range. So it's possible. I don't know what you do against that Snorlax, though. I think you just Thunder into it and you kind of force it to rest. No, he goes into Zapdos on the HP Ice. If he pivots in Snorlax in there, he's in a pretty neat spot. But he doesn't. I think that's fine too, though. Like, Zapdos isn't particularly... I'm getting caught up in the emotion of the scene. Zapdos isn't particularly useful because it's a Lax. Lax will set up curses on that Zap. So by sacking the Zapdos to the electricity, he allows his Lax to come in for free and not have to weather the Storm of Thunders as brutally. He's just gonna smack that Lax, not doing a lot, and it's gonna rest. Goes to his own Lax. He's really hoping for non-double edge here. Gets hit with it. Pretty decently sized roll. He needs to commit to this. Okay, I was wrong. Maybe this is the play. Threaten the Golem out, Thunder the Lax on the way in. Yeah, no, that's correct, because if he doesn't double the Zapdos there, Golem comes in, it clicks Explosion, Zapdos dies, Gengar comes in, clicks Explosion, Lax dies, so he had to double the Zapdos there. He's hitting his Thunders. Maybe he can muscle through this Lax. But otherwise, Rob Jr. has it. Sleepwalk Double Edge, does that put him in range of Thunder? It does. That's a really scary position for Rob Jr. to be in now. It's possible that he should have just clicked Rest that turn to ensure that he wasn't in range. That's a funny scenario where double edging isn't what you want. And he gets the roll! He's hitting all of his Thunders. This is pretty big. Yeah, so he's gonna go to Lax because I believe Zapdos is barely in range of Gengar Ice Punch. No, it's barely out of range, but he's gonna boom with Gengar. He's saying, you're going to click Explosion here. Or Ice Punch. Lax is okay with Ice Punch. We can work it from there. But you're most likely clicking Explosion. because Ice Punch doesn't kill my Zapdos. Zapdos thunders, and you just lose. So he's trying to call him out for it, but he goes for the Ice Punch. This Lax can't really switch out of this. But he's gonna be able to wake it. Barring a second Thunder hit. Is this... So, Coco has to hope this Gengar is debond. Because if it has Explosion here, that's game. But it doesn't. And he's gonna rest it off. It's down to the Sleep Talks. Gengar will be content to Ice Punch away. We need to see a Thunder hit right here or a rest. We need to see no HP Ice rolls unless for some reason Golem switches in. And if you're rooting for Coco, Rob Jr., you want to see him be able to not get parried here and either crit Ice Punch this turn or not get hit by a Thunder. But he does, and it's the perfect turn too. Coco goes from what, like 3 to 6 to winning. That hidden power ice seals the deal. Coco did it. Coco got the win. Rob Jr. At the end, it's just the Zapdos It was Coco's Zapdos' uncanny ability to land Thunder after Thunder. Did it miss a single Thunder in this game? To land Thunder after Thunder after Thunder. On to the next. Silo versus Seatom. Cloyly on Zapdos, that's not what you want to see. Yep, gonna switch to his Licks. Seatom content to Thunder. Gonna Thunder again into the Licks. We've seen how many times has a cheeky Lick stayed in, and most likely gonna Roar here. Just gonna look around at Seatom's team, but that's not what you want to roar in with Licks ever. Gonna Cloy on Cloy, get his spikes up. Silo is probably gonna spike too, and then we're gonna see a Toxic here. This would be really, really nice for Seatom if he has a Golem. But he's going to, he's gonna Surf. He's gonna be content to trade down the Cloy. Just gonna Surf into Zapdos again, not doing too much. We're gonna skip this track. He does have the Golem. Seatom likes his Golems, and he also, on Toxic Cloysters, he tends to Rapid Spin in front of them sometimes to really rack up that chip damage. Because again, it's so absurd for the Golem to stay in there. HP Ice into Lax. I assume Ice could be Water. Again, Water would just drop the Golem. Thunder crit's pretty big on the Curse. Lax is now in range. He's gonna go to his Zapdos. Pivoting into Zapdos. Zapdos is not fun, but it dodges Thunder. This 1v1 is really iffy, but less so if Silo has HP Water. He probably doesn't, is what I'd have to guess. Zap is gonna rest, wins the speed tie on HP Ice. Yep, it is Ice, because he's taking the 1v1. Thunder's first. We see a Sleep Talk rest. Yes, we do. He's content to keep thundering into the Zap until things change for him, until he is no longer on the gas. Seatom is backpedaling here, but he could take the momentum with a surprise Thunder para. But no, he's just going to keep resting away. Zap already down to 9 Thunders in 16 turns. HP Ice. HP Ice. Silo might just go for a rest here. Thunder, no para, parad. No, he goes for the Thunder, and he gets punished. Punished by the RNG. I shouldn't say punished. Punished carries the connotation that he messed up. This is a 1v1 that can go either way, because stuff like that can just happen at any moment. But this Zapdos is not in a good position. Has to run from Zapdos waking, HP icing here. Gonna pivot Licks into that. Takes the HP. Do we see a Cloy from Sciatom? We see a Golem. Catching the boom. That was an early boom from the Licks. Did not get rewarded with it. He's gonna have a much, much harder time taking on Sciatom's Zapdos now. Cloyster coming in, saying, hey, I'm gonna surf you. Sciatom doesn't do his little trick of rapid spinning in front of it. Good thing, too. Surfs Cloy and Cloy. Just really wants to trade these Cloys down. He could boom. No, he just wants to surf. He may very well just stay in here and just surf again. Even if he loses the speed tie, that Cloy takes significant damage from poison. He sends in, if he has a Mon that's not Zapdos that's faster, he sends that in to kill the Cloy. And then Cloy is dead to spikes and poison upon re-entry, or he wins the speed tie here. But Silo wants to preserve the potential of Cloyster's explosion. And it will live on 2% the next time it switches in. Gengar comes in, catches a Surf for its troubles. Pivots in Zapdos to the T-Bolt. Gengar not wanting to take another Surf there. Just booms on the Zap. Silo shoots 2 booms at the Zap, hits the second one. So a huge threat for his team is now gone. Sciatom's team could pretty much have whatever. This is standard. This is pretty standard stuff. I don't think it's a Mono Lax. That would be rather surprising with Golem. So it's likely that he has some sort of Vappy, Raikou. No, he has a Tyranitar, so I do believe this is a Mono Lax. Tar comes in. This is probably Screech. If I had to put my bet on it, this is Screech Tar. And I think he very well may go Cloyster here. No, he takes the Surf. And he's going to Pursuit. Yep. Oh, I'm an idiot. What am I thinking? I thought the Cloy was at 26%. This is why I shouldn't record late at night. Yeah, so Cloyster is never an option there. Tyranitar takes Surf or Boom. So you just Pursuit, you take the Cloy out. You accept that your Tar is being chipped. Anything else forces more damage on you. There is a Vappy. We've seen a lot of Licks today. Lax comes in, knowing it lives the Surf. It's going to rest. Very possible that it's a Mono Lax with a Pursuing Tar. Missing Lovely Kiss. Wait, have I already commentated this game? I would feel off. I'm an idiot. Holy freaking cow. I already recorded this game. Dang it. Dang it. Now I have to do video editing. Dang it. Alright, the second of 2 games in this double feature, and this triple feature. Second of 3, ew. Alright, let's do this. Double Legends of Cloy. Cloy likely goes for Spikes here as the opposing Cloy comes in. Then they will trade Toxics. Yep. And Toxics have been traded. Now, Mr. 378 will likely go to Zapdos on Lily's Spikes. No, he's content to surf away at the Meridian. These Cloys will probably down trade with each other. I believe they both have a Golem in back. No, they're not going to down trade. Zap on Gengar. That's not what you want to be on the Gengar player. It's going to pivot an Eggy to the Thunder. I'm wondering if this is going to be a Hera team from 378. HP Ice to the Chunk to the Sleep Powders. Late Night Meridian Higher Ground. Is that a song? Does he go boom? That's my question. Eats a Hidden Power Ice for his trouble. No, he Psychics, saying it's unlikely that you Hidden Power Ice me again. Lily switching in Golem, predicting boom. Meets a Snorlax. It's a free Rapid Spin. This is why the Cloysters are toxic. No, he's content to speed the clock. He will live with spikes for the moment. He wants that Cloyster gone, and then he will get rid of the spikes. Mr. 378 blows on the Cloyster. Sends on Zap. Favorable for Mr. 378. Jolteon week continues into the second week. We've seen so many Jolteons. On Tyranitar. Well, it's not going to be Hera because I'm an idiot. Oh my goodness, this commentary is awful. The heck is Lily's team? So that's game 2. Smash, cut, jump, let's go. Eggy lead on Zapdos. If this is Pink Bow, it goes boom. Otherwise, probably switches. Goes Coup, this is Hera. This is going to be a Hera team, I can already tell you. I am 90% sure this is going to be a Hera team. And it's HP Ice Zapdos. Thunders on Lax. Still screaming Hera, even though it doesn't have another boom in that slot. Curse Lax on the Tar. EQ will do a chunk here if it chooses to roar, but it gets lovely kissed on the roar. That's not a good spot you want to be in. He's going to come in, take a million, and threaten Sleep Powder, but surely Watashi does not stay in. He goes to a Sleep Talker, right? Yes, he does, but Cure Persona goes for the straightforward play and sleeps into Zapdos. Umbreon shows up, eats a Psychic, not what Eggy wants to see. Gets pursued on the way out. Eggy on its last legs. Cloy comes in. Other Cloy. If spikes come up, Eggy dies. Goes to Coup. Eggy's dead. There's not going to be a spinner on this team. It's going to be Lax Hera is my guess. Hera does look really nice into this, except for the fact that Eggy's already gone. That's one boom less to clear out Zapdos and friends. This looks like it's going to be Skarmory and Coup as the last two, which means that Lax is going to have a hard time blowing up on the Skarm because of the Umbreon's existence. Raikou thunders into the Lax. Eggy sacks for tempo. Goes Machamp. Is this the, yeah, this, okay, that's chill. It was screaming Hera, but that makes sense too, because it's the same type of structure, except that just Hera is Sleep Talker, so it makes you better into Nido. I think you're really happy to have a Machamp here over Hera, because that means your Lax can also be a more resilient threat than Curse Boom. Machamp here is going to be very likely just a Curse. And he's probably going to Curse up here. That's a Gar. That's a Gar. Umbreon Gengar. That's interesting. So this is either an Umbreon on offense or a double anti-Fire Lax stall without Raikou. And it just booms on the Machamp, doing a major chunk. Cloyster coming in, threatening to do it again. Does he go to his own Cloy? Yes, he does. But Toxic is a safe play too. So is Surf, threatening to a KO on the Machamp. It looks like Cure Persona's flailing into Watashi after they got into the early lead with the brutal sequence of that Lax cursing and then lovely kissing, double edging the Eggy into oblivion. Almost oblivion. Umbreon switches into the Raikou. Takes very little, but doesn't do anything to the Raikou in return. Lets the mean look. But just rests up. Pivots into Zapdos. Takes a hefty Thunder. Goes back to Umbreon. Raikou not wasting Thunders, because that's a majorly good crit, but Lax is still healthy enough. That is Golem, so it's just a random Umbreon on offense. Pivots into the Thunder after switching around Thunder over and over and over and over. EQ looks good here. EQ looks very nice here, but he's content to go for the Rapid Spin. Likely we see Zapdos here. No, it's Ice Beam. The Golem stays in. They wasted a ton of time here. It's gonna Ice Beam freeze. Surf Ice Beam Cloy. Ice Beam was aimed at the Zapdos. It's gonna spike up on the Golem, who's gonna try and unfreeze. He's gonna try and thaw. And he does it. He gets the 10%, goes to the Umbreon, sacks it to the Surf. This Cloy on his last limbs, letting the Zapdos or the Cloy in. He chooses to go for the Cloy in case of because sleeping Zapdos. Except that it's getting boomed on. You can't go to the Zapdos against that Cloy and get boomed because then Machamp wins. I'm trying too hard to commentate this well and I'm messing up. Alright. This Lax looks really good. If we can break this Hera. He's got a Zapdos. Golem dies to pretty much everything. And it's the slowest mod. So it can only come in on Cure's Lax, but Lax isn't coming in for Cure anytime soon. Looks like Watashi needs to get a Curse String up with Lax. Probably he could go for fishing for Para against this Raikou. He needs a Sleep Talk here of Thunder or Rest. Well, I shouldn't say needs, but that's what he really wants. To be icing here, not wanting to miss Thunders. Talks the HP. Goes to Lax on HP, he hopes, but even better, he dodges Thunder. Cure Persona made the right call, they just got unlucky, and they got unlucky again. Lax is going for the Curse String. Does it go for it again? No, a double edge in the Tark, it's a crit! This Lax might be able to do it, he's not going for any more curses, he's saying this Tyranitar will die here and now. Oh, okay, never mind. He wants to be more safe against that Machamp. Of course, Machamp could just crit him. Or he could pivot, or he could just switch from Zapdos on it. But then, how do you get the Lax in with Curses up? I think Watashi has to take this. You double edge. If you don't get crit, you win. Likely. Presuming this Lax doesn't have something like Lovely Kiss or Boom. No, you don't Boom here if you have it. Because maybe you do. Yeah, you do. As you can kill a Golem. They're both gonna rest. The Curse Lax from Watashi's end is significantly favored because of that Lovely Kiss. The 4 turns, double edging, doing 40 to 3 at KO. Watashi's gotta hope this Lax doesn't have anything to do to his, or just doesn't wake, and it doesn't seem to be able to do that at this moment, and it gets the 6-turn sleep, and it's over. There it is. Watashi has taken Cure Persona out. He's just cursing once more to ensure double edge kills. It's all formalities. He would need, Cure Persona would need Thunder crit stuff. Alright. Thanks for watching this, less smooth, less eloquent, more off-the-cuff game. I definitely didn't, accidentally record half of Sia Tom's game, and then realize I had already recorded that game, and then have to edit this. And also didn't restart 10-20 minutes into the first game because I forgot about a thing that I needed to attend to. So, whoop-diddy-doo. Editing time, baby.